A story of sexual harassment of a young female journalist, allegedly by her editor-in-chief, broke on social media last night. Within hours, it was clear it was not just harassment, but a full-blown assault. It's the ultimate scandal. Less than a year after the revolutionary protests post the Delhi gang rape, a media boss allegedly assaulted a young female employee twice in 2 days. A man whose news magazine was among the loudest voices in the fight for a law against sexual crimes against women. And what does he do? Instead of holding himself accountable to the rule of law, he decides to become a judge of his own crime and steps down from his position as editor and boss for 6 months. If that wasn't bad enough, the second in command, a female editor, shoots off an email to the employees saying there has been an untoward incident, and though he has extended an unconditional apology to the colleague involved, he will be recusing himself as editor of the Halka for the next 6 months, unquote. This, of course, comes within days of several members of the legal fraternity blowing the lid on the existence of sexual harassment in our country's most revered institute, the courts, the ultimate place where laws are made. And even the protective state machinery is allegedly mobilized in the ongoing Stockade scandal, where Modi's Minister Amit Shah is facing allegations of stalking a woman on instructions of Sahib. Despite that, this scandal with Tehelka has dominated the trends all day today. Blogs, tweets, posts, counterposts, it's all anyone is talking about. And there is no reason to believe that different laws govern different people. But the inwardly turned scanner towards us today in the media is a cause for squirming. But does the discomfort come from the realization that no matter where you work, what you do, how progressive your environment is, the stench of patriarchy runs so deep in all of us? And that's what we discuss on the social network today. Patriarchy runs deep: state, courts and media. Before we introduce our panelists for the day, let's quickly listen in to what Radhika Krishnan has sent us.
See, we've had this story breaking out yesterday that a very well-known editor in a well-known newspaper has himself said that he has sexually molested and violated the dignity of a colleague of his, a junior colleague of his. Now, the point that we need to make here is that once this admission has happened, the person cannot be his or her own judge. Such incidents have to go through the due process of the law, a due process of investigation, and the person cannot decide that 6 months or 8 months or 2 months or 3 months he does some sort of atonement. This is completely bizarre.
And of course, the story is really inwardly turned into the media. So perhaps it makes sense why maximum number of outrage is actually coming from within us, members of our own community. We're joined by two such people. We've got Suhasini Raj with us, who is a freelance journalist, and she writes for several international dailies. We're also joined by Sandhya Menon from Bangalore, whose post talks about the complicity of silence of women and has in fact gone viral on social media. We're also joined by Mrinal, who is associate professor at the National Law University. And on the phone line, we're also joined by Janki Abraham, who is a professor at the Delhi University. Okay, Sandhya, I want to start with you first, since you have obviously written a post in response to this particular huge raging controversy on social media. What's your understanding of this young 20-something journalist who has obviously had a very traumatizing experience? She obviously took several days to figure out in her mind, to take the space to, to understand for her own self how she wanted to deal with what any of us would agree would be a very tricky and a very delicate situation.
I think she did the right thing. I mean, I'm glad she spoke out. It's not easy being early 20 something and going up and telling your boss, listen, this is what's happened to me. It's not, because even if you, and even if you do that, which is what she's done, the first thing they'll do is turn around and tell you, listen, this is not the way it was meant, etc., and you'll be talked out of it. So what she's done is hugely brave. It's a brave, gutsy thing to do, because she knows what she's taking on and she knows what she's up against, work-wise as well as family-wise, if you look at all the details of the situation.